Think back to the last time you felt truly embarrassed. Maybe you tripped in a crowded hallway or stumbled over your words during a big presentation. You probably replayed that moment 1,000 times in your head, convinced that everyone was judging you. But here's the truth that might sting at first. They weren't even looking. Most people are far too busy worrying about their own messy lives to give yours a second thought. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive into the psychology of modern living. Today, we are exploring a concept that sounds harsh, but is actually the most liberating secret you'll ever hear. We are talking about why nobody cares about you, and how that lack of attention is actually your secret superpower. By the end of this video, you'll see the world through a completely different lens that prioritizes your own happiness over external validation. Psychologists call this phenomenon the spotlight effect. It is the tendency to overestimate how much other people notice about us, our appearance, our mistakes, and even our successes. We walk around as if there is a literal spotlight following our every move, highlighting every flaw for the world to see. In reality, that spotlight only exists in our own minds, powered by our own insecurities and self-consciousness. Understanding this is the first step toward true psychological freedom. Imagine every person you pass on the street is the protagonist of their own epic movie. They are worrying about their bills, their relationships, their health, and their own past embarrassments. In their movie, you are just a background extra, a face in the crowd that vanishes the moment you walk off screen. This isn't because people are mean or selfish. It's simply because our own internal narratives are incredibly loud. Once you realize you are an extra in their movie, you can stop performing for them. This realization is your power because it removes the invisible weight of judgment. When you believe everyone is watching, you become paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. You play it safe, you dress a certain way, and you speak in a way that you think will be accepted. You are living a curated version of yourself, designed to please an audience that isn't even paying attention. Think about how much energy you waste trying to manage the perceptions of people who don't actually care. Think about the risks you have avoided because you were afraid of what they would say. Maybe it was starting a business, picking up a new hobby, or even just wearing a bold outfit. The fear of being the topic of conversation held you back. But the truth is, even if they do talk, it's only for a fleeting moment. People might gossip for 30 seconds before returning to their own personal dramas. Your lifelong regret is a much higher price to pay than 30 seconds of someone else's idle gossip. When nobody cares, you are finally allowed to fail. Failure is usually a private event that we mistake for a public scandal. If you try something and it doesn't work out, most of the world will never even know it happened. And those who do know will likely forget it within a week because they are too worried about their own failures. This gives you a massive laboratory to experiment with your life, to iterate and to grow, without the fear of a permanent social stain. Consider the freedom of being a stranger in a new city. Why is it that we feel so much more alive when we travel to a place where nobody knows our name? It is because the expectations of our social circle have been lifted. We feel we can be anyone we want because no one has a file on us. But you don't need to buy a plane ticket to feel this way. You just need to realize that even the people who know you don't truly own your identity. We often live our lives for a ghost audience, a group of people from our past or present whose opinions we value more than our own. It could be an old teacher, an ex-partner, or even our parents. We make choices based on what we think they would approve of, even if they aren't even in the room. Breaking free means realizing that these people are also just humans, struggling with their own perceptions and flaws. Their approval is a moving target that you will never truly hit, so why bother aiming for it? Self-consciousness is essentially a form of narcissism. It is the belief that you are so important that everyone is constantly monitoring your behavior. When you humble yourself and realize you are just one of 8 billion people, the pressure vanishes. You are small, and in that smallness, there is an incredible lightness. You are no longer responsible for maintaining an image for the world.
You are only responsible for being true to yourself in this brief moment of existence.
The most successful people in history often had one thing in common. They didn't care about being misunderstood. They were willing to look foolish, to be called crazy, or to be ignored entirely. They understood that the power of nobody meant they could work in the dark until they were ready to step into the light. If they had waited for everyone to care and approve, they would have never started. Their greatness was born in the vacuum of other people's indifference.
Let's talk about the digital age. Social media has amplified the spotlight effect to an extreme degree. We post every meal, every vacation, and every thought, hoping for those little hits of dopamine in the form of likes and comments. We are training ourselves to care about what others think more than ever before. But remember, most people are scrolling past your life while they are waiting for the bus or sitting on the toilet. Their like is a reflex, not a deep validation of your worth. The moment you stop caring about the likes, you regain control of your narrative. You start doing things because they bring you joy, not because they look good on a grid. You can enjoy a sunset without needing to photograph it. You can eat a meal without needing to share it. You can live a private, rich life that belongs only to you. This internal satisfaction is far more sustainable than the fleeting attention of a digital crowd that will forget you by the next swipe. Think about the people you admire most. Do you admire them because they fit in and followed all the rules? Or do you admire them because they were unapologetically themselves? Usually it's the latter. We are drawn to authenticity, but authenticity requires the courage to be disliked or ignored. You cannot be truly authentic if you are constantly adjusting your frequency to match the signals of everyone around you. You have to be willing to be the only one dancing to your own music. There is a massive difference between being lonely and being free. Loneliness is the fear that nobody cares, while freedom is the realization that nobody caring is a gift. When you are free, you can spend your time on what truly matters to you. You can invest in your health, your skills, and your relationships without the performance. You are no longer a slave to the fickle opinions of the masses. You are the architect of your own destiny, building on a foundation of self-trust. How would you live your life differently starting tomorrow if you knew for a fact that no one would judge you? Would you change your career? Would you speak your mind more often? Would you finally start that creative project you've been hiding? Take a moment to really visualize that version of yourself. That person isn't a different version of you. They are the real you, currently buried under layers of social anxiety. It's time to start peeling those layers back. One of the greatest benefits of this mindset is the ability to say no. When you aren't trying to please everyone, no becomes a powerful tool for protecting your time and energy. You stop saying yes to social events you don't want to attend and projects that don't align with your goals. You realize that saying no might disappoint people for a second, but they will move on almost instantly. Meanwhile, you gain hours of your life back to spend on what you actually value. This power also allows you to be more compassionate toward others. When you stop worrying about how people are judging you, you stop judging them so harshly as well. You realize that everyone is fighting their own silent battles and dealing with their own spotlight effect. You become a source of comfort because you aren't looking for flaws, you are looking for connection. By freeing yourself, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same, creating a ripple effect of authenticity. Let's be clear, this doesn't mean you should be a jerk or ignore the needs of those you love. It means you stop caring about the nebulous they, the strangers, the acquaintances, and the social media followers. The people who truly matter in your life, your inner circle, will care about you regardless of your mistakes. And even they don't want you to be a polished, perfect version of yourself. They want the messy, real, and honest version. Focus your energy on the few who truly care, and ignore the rest. The fear of nobody caring often stems from a fear of being insignificant. But insignificance is a matter of perspective. In the grand scheme of the universe, we are all tiny. But in the context of our own lives, we are everything.
You don't need a stadium of people cheering for you to have a meaningful existence. The meaning of your life is found in the quality of your thoughts, the depth of your experiences, and the love you share with those closest to you. That is more than enough.
Start small. Try doing one thing today that makes you feel slightly self-conscious, but do it anyway. Go to a movie alone, eat at a restaurant by yourself, or wear that hat you think is too much. Notice the feeling of anxiety that rises up, and then notice how it disappears when you realize that nobody is pointing or laughing. Each small victory builds your don't care muscle, making you stronger and more resilient for the bigger challenges in life.
As you practice this, you will notice a strange shift. People might actually start to notice you more, but for the right reasons. They will be drawn to your confidence and your lack of desperation for their approval. There is something magnetic about a person who knows who they are and doesn't need anyone else to validate it. Ironically, by stopping the chase for attention, you often become the most interesting person in the room. But by then, you'll be too busy enjoying your life to notice. Think about your legacy. Do you want to be remembered as someone who was always appropriate and safe, or as someone who lived fully and followed their heart? When people look back on your life, they won't remember the times you were slightly awkward or the outfits that didn't quite work. They will remember the way you made them feel and the courage you showed in being yourself. Your power lies in the fact that your life is your own artistic creation, not a committee decision. This philosophy is a shield against the noise of the world. Every day, we are bombarded with messages telling us who to be, what to buy, and how to act. These messages rely on our fear of not being good enough or not fitting in. When you realize that nobody cares, those messages lose their power over you. You become unshakable because your self-worth is internally generated. You are no longer a consumer of other people's expectations. You are a producer of your own values. Remember that time is the most precious resource you have. Every second you spend worrying about a stranger's opinion is a second you are stealing from your own potential. If you live to be 80, you have about 4,000 weeks. How many of those weeks do you want to give away to the ghost audience? Reclaim your time. Reclaim your focus. Use your energy to build a life that feels good on the inside, rather than one that just looks good on the outside. You owe it to yourself. The most beautiful thing about nobody caring is that it makes the world feel like a playground again. Remember when you were a kid and you would run around making up games, not caring if you looked silly? You can get that feeling back. You can approach life with a sense of play and curiosity. Every day is a new chance to try something, to learn something, and to be someone. The stakes are lower than you think, which means the possibilities are higher than you can imagine. So, the next time you feel that familiar sting of self-consciousness, take a deep breath. Remind yourself, nobody cares. Say it like a mantra. Let it wash over you and dissolve your anxiety. Feel the lightness that comes with that realization. You are invisible, and in that invisibility, you are finally, truly free. You are the master of your own domain, the captain of your own soul, and the only judge who truly matters in the end. Go out there and be yourself. This shift won't happen overnight. It takes conscious effort to unlearn years of social conditioning. You will still have moments where the old fears creep back in, and that's okay. Just acknowledge them and let them pass, like clouds in the sky. The more you lean into your power of nobody, the easier it will become. You are building a mental fortress that will protect your peace for the rest of your life. Keep going and keep choosing yourself every single day. In conclusion, the fact that nobody cares about you is not a curse. It is the ultimate blessing. It is the key that unlocks the door to a life of authenticity, risk-taking, and genuine joy. Don't wait for permission from a world that isn't even watching. Take your power back today. You have one life to live. Make sure it's yours and not a performance for an empty theater. The world is yours for the taking, precisely because it isn't paying attention. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive into the power of perspective. If this message resonated with you, let us know in the comments. How are you going to use your power of nobody today? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates and weekly insights into building a better mindset. Your support means the world to us as we grow this community of free thinkers. See you in the next one, and remember, you are the power.